All right. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. My name is John Martinez, and I'm a Senior Director of Sales here at OpenTrons. Today, I'm joined by Nick Rizzo, Product Specialist. Welcome to our live demo webinar focusing on how to use the OpenTrons Flex Prep with quick transfer software for walk-up pipetting tasks without needing to program. This is a true no-code experience, and we're very excited to demo this today. So I'm going to pause here for a minute just to make sure everyone who signed up can join us. And I'll use this time to plug our demo room, which is where this webinar is taking place. The demo room is in our headquarters, which is in Long Island City, New York. So if you or anyone from your team or organization are in New York City or the tri-state area, please feel free to find your main point of contact at OpenTrons to schedule some time to come and visit us. You can check out our office, our lab, and see the OpenTrons Flex in person. So I'm just going to give it another bit so that folks who are waiting can join, and then we'll get started. So thanks, everyone, for joining. Okay. All right. Looks like we are good to go. So just a quick reminder to everyone that this webinar is being recorded and it will be made available on the OpenTrons website. We will also be sending a copy of the recording via email after the webinar. So to help with the overall webinar experience, all attendees are on mute. And to ask a question, please use the Q&A box on your screen. We'll answer questions at the end. So let's get started. First, I just want to say a few things about OpenTron's ethos and really why we exist as a business. It's our mission to support scientists that are doing groundbreaking, valuable research with powerful, accessible lab automation that frees you to do more than pipette. We've helped thousands of labs all across the world automate their workflows. The OpenTrons Flex Prep is our newest generation robot, and we're excited to show you how it can help you and your lab increase your throughput and automate your workflows with a code-free, easy-to-use experience. So first, I'm going to show you a few key features of the OpenTrons Flex Prep, and then Nick is going to demonstrate just how quick and easy it is to use the quick transfer software. We'll take questions at the end, like I mentioned, so please type them into the Q&A box whenever you want. So as you can see next to me, right over here, this is the OpenTrons Flex Prep. The Flex Prep is our leanest configuration, and it includes an OpenTrons Flex robot, plus one pipette of your choice, and is really excellent for quick, simple pipetting tasks. This makes it a lot more affordable, and because it's a Flex robot, you can always add on more pipettes or modules or a gripper if and when you're ready to automate a whole workflow rather than individual pipetting steps. So right over here is the gantry. The gantry holds one or two pipettes and also holds a gripper, regardless of how many pipettes. For the Flex Prep, like I mentioned, a single pipette is included in the price. But with the modularity of this system, you can always add more when you purchase or at a later date. So with that, let's dive into talking more about the pipettes. Like I said, the Flex Prep comes with one pipette included. So you can have either a single, an 8-channel, or a 96-channel. The single channel and 8-channel come in two different sizes. The first is a P50, which covers 1 to 50 microliters, and a P1000, which covers 5 to 1,000 microliters. The 96-channel, however, comes in only one size, but it covers a wide gamut of 5 to 1,000 microliters. In addition to the 96-channel being used as a 96-channel pipette, this pipette can also perform what we call partial tip pickup. So this allows the 96-channel pipette to pick up one tip, one row, or one column of tips at a time. Eventually, this will be several rows or columns. And this provides a lot of flexibility in how you and your lab ultimately use this pipette. One thing to note, if you want to add a second pipette when you buy the Flex Prep, or again, later on, you can use any combination of 2 single or 2 multi-channel pipettes on the gantry at once. That means you can do 2 single, 2 multi, or 1 single and 1 multi. The only exception to this is the 96-channel pipette, which takes up both mounts on the gantry due to its size. So you can't use a second pipette at the same time while using a 96-channel pipette. Most people, however, find that because the range on the 96-channel pipette is 5 to 1,000 microliters, they don't need a second pipette anyway. So we also will have a gripper, which would be mounted to the right of the pipettes. This would be right over here. This is an easily added function. So even if you don't start off with it, it's very simple to add it onto the system. And it would give you the capability to move tip racks or plates across the deck or into the trash bin at the back, which is right over here. We also have a trash chute available, which sits on the front of the deck and would attach to an external bin so that when you're running high throughput workflows, you can restock the deck with new tips or plates after discarding them in the chute. So this really is going to extend the walkaway time you can achieve with a benchtop robot. It's a great upgrade that you can make because it means you can automate a whole workflow rather than a single pipetting step. Now, moving on to the deck. The deck of the robot right over here features 12 standard slots, one being a trash bin, like I said, where tips, labware, and modules would be placed. We also have expansion slots, which we have 4 of, which would be off to the right of the main deck, which would be right over here. And these would be used to hold extra tips and labware. The gripper can access the 12 standard slots, but can also access the 4 expansion slots, which allows you to bring additional labware onto the main deck so that the pipettes can access them. If you want to use lots of deck slots, for example, if you're pooling samples from lots of plates into one plate, or if you want to fill lots of plates with a reagent, it's easy to write a protocol using our GUI interface, the protocol designer. For quicker pipetting jobs that just need one deck slot as a source and one as a destination, you can use our quick transfer software. The quick transfer always uses the same 3 deck slots, one for the source liquid, one for the destination, and of course, one for a box of tips. So Nick is going to show you how quick it is to set that up in a minute. Quick transfer is great if you want to walk up to your robot and immediately start pipetting. But let's say down the road, you want to do more complex workflows like nucleic acid extraction or NGS library prep. The great thing about the Flex robot is that it can scale with your work because of the modularity. So I previously referenced that we have a number of different pipette options. You can always use those to scale up your workflows. We also have a number of different protocol processes for developing more complex workflows that your account manager can always walk you through. So I just want to quickly mention a few of the different modules that we have that you can always use with the Flex that you can add on to your Flex prep. So for example, we have a magnetic block, which is an industry standard 96 well magnet plate. We have a heater shaker, which goes from 200 to 3000 RPM and ambient to 95C. We have a temperature module, which goes from 4 to 95C. We have a thermocycler, which can automatically open and close via our software, which is a really unique offering because you can fully automate PCR on the deck, among other workflows. And finally, we recently launched a HEPA UV module that sits neatly on the top of the robot and sterilizes the deck surface. Flex robots are modular, like I mentioned, and have a common base hardware in the OpenTron's Flex robot. So this means that you're not tied with this robot to doing one thing forever. You can easily swap or upgrade your hardware or change applications to increase throughput. So finally, right over here off to the side, we have an on-device display touchscreen on the robot that allows you to easily store, pull up, and run protocols. It also guides you through the deck setup and automated calibration. Most importantly, the touchscreen provides a lot of prompts and a lot of guidance. So it really makes the steps that you go through before your robot starts to run extremely straightforward and really easy for anyone in the lab to carry out, whether they have experience with automation, with OpenTron's products, or no automation at all. What we're really excited to show you today is our new quick transfer software, though, which is available to all Flex users as part of the latest software release. With a few quick taps, you can have your Flex robot complete simple pipetting tasks and automate some of the most tedious processes in your day-to-day. So before I pass it over to Nick, I just want to quickly mention our service offerings, which is always a question that I get asked. OpenTron's has a white glove approach to service for our users, which includes on-site installation, training from one of our specialized field application scientists, on-site support with quick turnaround time, ongoing preventative maintenance, as well as IQ/OQ. Our service team consists of both experienced field application scientists who act as technical application and automation consultants for you and your lab, as well as field application engineers who are responsible for ongoing support and preventative maintenance visits. So if you're interested in talking about any of this, please talk to your local territory manager to talk about ongoing service and support options that best fit what your lab needs. So now I'll pass it over to Nick, who will run you through our new quick transfer software.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, John. Happy to be here as always. Yeah, today we'll be going over the quick transfer. Just quickly, I also wanted to touch on the concept of flex prep, as this is kind of our newest, leanest configuration of the flex robot. As John had also mentioned, it comes with the robot and a single pipette of your choosing. The really great thing about this is, really based off the modularity of the flex instrument, that you can always continue to build up from there. So one noticeable difference from this robot configuration to most of the others that we have in webinars is there are no modules that are located on the deck currently, but you can always add them in. It's pretty simple, just a turn of a few screws in the deck to replace that, and then they seat directly into those positions in their caddies. The kind of other concept that we are really highlighting with the flex prep is this ability to walk up to the robot utilizing quick transfer. And so what I'm going to be doing today is going over the quick transfer in kind of two different mechanisms. The first, I'm going to just walk you through really quickly, show you kind of through the lens of the webinar, just to show what it kind of feels like to walk up to the robot and get it prepped for it. And then the second view that I'm going to give is actually going to be a screen share directly from the touchscreen display on the robot, streaming through my computer, through some kind of OpenTrons magic here, just to give you a really kind of detailed view around what is actually happening, which is kind of difficult to capture through the actual kind of camera screen here. Just also to touch on this, while we are really excited to kind of debut quick transfer, that does not kind of mean that you cannot use any of the other really great authorship tools that we already have at your disposal, whether that's from our protocol library, which is kind of an ever-growing list of protocols that we support. There have been some really exciting updates that are included with the software launch 8.0 to now include CSV-based protocols that you can update on your robot at runtime. Please check out our webinar from last Thursday to get more info on that. We also have our protocol designer, which is very similar to the quick transfer functions we will show you today. However, this will be all kind of located on your computer and will allow you to kind of build out longer, more complicated protocols. And then, as always, we also have our Python interface that kind of exists at the lowest level of coding if you want to be able to put together some really complicated kind of logical protocol steps through that. Using quick transfer is really going to be kind of the fastest mechanism, however, to just walk up to the robot kind of independent of your automation skill set and have pipetting operations take place. This is obviously, fantastic for all of the reasons that normal automation is. It's reproducible. It kind of doesn't depend upon who is the end user, who is kind of performing those tasks. And you can kind of guarantee the way that they will be operated every time is going to be the same. So just very quickly here, I'm going to walk you through what it looks like kind of on the touch screen to do a quick transfer. And so kind of starting from our main screen here, you just click into transfer. This robot, as well as the application that I'm using on my computer, have already been updated to our 8.0 software. This was released last week and is super exciting. It has a great kind of deal of features. So please go ahead and update if you have yet to, if you already have an instrument. If not, everyone moving forward will have access to all of these features here. Next, I'm going to just quickly say, let's do a new quick transfer. There's going to be an overview of kind of the requisite setup of this. I already have my robot set up in this configuration. So I have 50 microliter tips. I have a 96 deep well plate and then a 96 PCR plate here. So I can continue through. I can choose which of the two mounted pipettes I'm going to be able to do this work with. The Flex Prep, as mentioned, would only have one of these, but you can always kind of add on and kind of have more, kind of robot functionality. So if I'm going to do the left mount here to use the single pipette, I'm going to select that I'm going to use filtered tip racks here. And then kind of navigating down, I have a list of all of the labware that OpenTrons natively supports. I'm going to select my deep well plate. I'm going to select just a few sources. And now navigating down again in these really easy to use kind of interfaces, I'm going to select the destination plate here. I'm going to specify that I'm going to do 25 microliters. And then I'll have a bunch of advanced settings, which I will show you kind of in greater detail when I move to the other view of this. And now I can create this transfer and run this now. So in that really short time period is all it took for me to set up and now start to run a protocol on the OpenTrons Flex. And here you can see that it is already now starting to pipette. So obviously this is, really an incredible, technology for people at any automation skill level, whether you're new to the lab and you're really not familiar with it, or if you've been using liquid handlers for your entire life and you've always wanted to be able to have some easier usage of them. Once this finishes, I'm just going to replace some of the tips that are on the deck, and then I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen and show you what this looks like kind of in greater detail on the touch screen of this Flex instrument. Go ahead and put those in there. Fantastic. And now let's go over to share my screen. Okay, great. These steps are now just finishing up. The run has been successfully completed. I'm going to return to the quick transfers screen. And just to mention it again, just very quickly, what I'm doing right now is actually screen sharing directly from the touch screen that is behind me on the Flex. So the actions that I'm going to be kind of performing here are the same things that would be performed done by hand. So if I go ahead and specify a new quick transfer, here's a more detailed view of the kind of transfer overview that I had previously mentioned. The configuration is always going to be the same, using B2, C2, and D2 for tip rack, source, and destination in that order. If I continue through this again, I'll again have the selection of pipette mounts. I'm going to use this single channel here again, and I still have filtered tip racks on the deck. Here you can see kind of a better view of all of the available well plates, reservoirs, or tube racks, which are supported natively within the OpenTrons software. If I select on a well plate here, I'm going to navigate down again. I'm still using the Nest 96 deep well, and I can specify some different wells here. So this is also a really fantastic way to cherry pick. If I navigate down here as well, I can go ahead and select the PCR plate that I'm going to be transferring into. There we are there. And again, I can pull from those kind of disparate locations and pull them into kind of, more of a sequence on this plate. I can specify the volume here. There are bounds because it does understand the volumes that are going to be able to be pipetted here. And now that I'm here, you can see a quick overview of this quick transfer, what it's going to be named based on the volume that's being moved. You can see all of the requisite information around pipette, tip rack, source, destination, and volume. If you click into the advanced settings here, you can specify kind of the entirety of the requisite settings to be able to perform these transfers to the best of the pipette's ability. So this does include aspirate and dispense flow rates, as well as things like tip positions, and kind of a whole suite of other kind of advanced features that will allow your pipetting to be done in the best manner possible by the instrument. And you'll also have some tip management options here as well for when you want to change tips, do you want to reuse them, and where do you want to drop off your tip for trashing it. I can create this transfer here, and I can run this again in the same manner that I was doing previously. As you can see, there is a kind of a banner that pops up. This is a very similar banner to how you send protocols over to the Flex normally. And again, here, I have things that are going to be very similar to how normal protocol setup is positioned on the Flex as well. I'm in a good state to begin this run, though. So I can, again, start this run. And if I stop sharing, you can see the robot, again, kind of just very quickly going over here. And it will now pull from those kind of disparate wells across the plate in kind of more of a cherry picking fashion. As you can kind of well imagine, if you had a 96 channel head, this is a fantastic way to plate stamp, especially moving from 96 to 384 well, really simply, instead of doing that by hand. So that functionality is entirely unlocked with this new feature. Again, with this feature, I could have used either pipette as well. So if I wanted to use the 8 channel, I could have done that. If I wanted to move from a reservoir to stamp across a plate, that's kind of easily done as well. And because of those advanced settings, if I wanted to do it as kind of a non-contact dispense above the kind of top of the well, I would have that ability. A lot of our other advanced pipetting settings are also available. So that means things like multi-dispenses, so that you can kind of very quickly aspirate a lot of liquid and dispense it several times across a plate. So a lot of the advanced pipetting settings that you would be kind of familiar with across automation platforms are now available at kind of the touch of your fingers. So it's a really exciting feature. We're very excited to have it kind of out in the wild now, and for people to kind of start to experience the full functionality that will come with this. That will conclude our demos for today after having gone through both of those. So now we can kind of open it up to QA. I'll welcome John back into frame here as we move this fancy camera out of the way.
Thanks, Nick. So yeah, let's kick off the Q&A. Nick and I are happy to answer anything and everything that we can.
Great. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Quick reminder to everybody, the Q&A button is down at the bottom of your screen. So if you have a question, you can put it in now. But as I see it at the moment, we actually only have the one question, which is, can the gripper and 96 multi-pipette be installed together so that we can do 96 well liquid transferring and labware movement in the same workflow?
Yes. So the gripper can be attached to the robot no matter what pipette configuration there is. So I mentioned earlier, but just to reiterate, the pipette configurations you can have on the gantry are 2 singles, 2 multis, 1 single, 1 multi. If you want, you can just have 1 single or 1 multi, and 1 96 channel only, because the size of the pipette, as you might be able to see over here, you can't see the 96 channel here, but you can see there's a multi-channel and a single channel. The 96 channel pipette is the width of both of these, maybe even a little bit bigger. And so because of that, it takes up the entirety of the pipette slots on the z-axis of the gantry. And so what that means is that you can't put any other pipettes on if you have the 96 channel. Now the gripper sits off to the right of where the pipettes would go. So no matter what pipette configuration you have on the robot, you can always have the gripper there. So to answer the question in short, yes, you can have a 96 channel pipette and a gripper at the same time, working in conjunction to do higher throughput workflows.
All right. Well, I think that concludes actually all of the questions we had this week. So as a quick reminder, we'll be putting this webinar online on our website and also sending out a link to it via email. But thank you very much, everybody, for attending, and we'll hope to see you again next time.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.